Hey everyone, and welcome to Real Life Real Crime Daily for Monday, April 17th. And I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
No Mike Agovino.
Mikey, where's Mikey? Where's Waldo? Where's Mikey? Mikey, we miss you, bro. Y'all, he'll be back with us.
Next episode.
Yeah, the next episode.
Should be Wednesday. Yeah. So we miss you, Mike, wherever. Well, we know where you're at. It's the weekend, and we're recording this on a Sunday.
Right, Sunday.
We left him at home. Some big stuff.
Yeah.
Big stuff had took place over the weekend.
Yeah, it's super interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, Dateline NBC. And so we're going to start off the show today, and we're going to talk a little bit to Woody about his thoughts on it, what the experience was like with Dateline NBC and recording the Courtney Coco episode. So
yeah. The name of the episode is Who Killed Courtney Coco, and the name of the episode on Real Life Real Crime is Who Murdered Courtney Coco. Yeah,
and if you have not, which I find it hard to believe anybody hasn't watched it yet, but if you haven't had time to watch it, it's 2 hours of heavy focus on the case.
It's heavy. You can find it now on Peacock. And wherever you can watch Dateline.
That's right. And they're going to have a podcast edition of that episode come out on Wednesday.
Yes. And their show, Dateline's podcast, which all they do is take whatever they release on Fridays and take out the commercials, and they put it on a podcast form, and they always are number one or number two, and unless we're ahead of them.
That's right.
Now
they're not always.
Right now we're like one spot behind them. So that'll be coming out. If you didn't get to see the video version, then you'll get to listen to it.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit about your experience with it, Woody. I guess, for podcast folks, we're used to audio and doing everything over a microphone, and video's a little different.
Yeah, it's a lot different. And then this started, y'all, way back months and months ago with a phone call from the Dateline's producer. And then I met him in Baton Rouge. We had a meeting at the Hilton downtown. Shout out to our people down there. They gave us a conference room, et cetera. I met with two producers. We went over, and they didn't think they were going to be able to do the show because it was so much information. On Real Life Real Crime, I've done at least 25 episodes in total, from the investigation of the case, then updates on all the trips I was making to Alexandria for court, because I was there for every one of them, like I told Courtney's mom I would be, and sat with her for all of it. And then the trial series, which there's no way, that you can put in 2 hours what I could barely cover in 25 hours.
Yeah, 25 episodes.
Or almost 30 hours probably in total. Yeah, 25 episodes, yeah.
Right. So that was the challenge going in, I would imagine, for these folks, was how can we compress this down to 2 hours and at least tell the story from start to finish to where people can sort of grasp what was going on. How did you think they did on that?
I think that if I didn't know what I knew, that I would be a bit perplexed and I would have questions. But back to it real quick. After that initial meeting, they got to go to film it, and then so I went to Alexandria, and I filmed with Andrea Canning. She's awesome.
Total pro.
Those also the film crew and everybody for Dateline was awesome, and the producers and everything. And then they came back a month or so later and shot a bunch of B-roll footage, which is what you'll see in the episode of my place up in the country and me working on the case and behind the microphone and all that. So the production-wise, they were very careful. We were in constant contact with them, and they were asking more questions. I didn't know what angle they were going to take. I knew that they told me I was going to be focused in the second hour. The first part was going to be about the investigation, Courtney's life, and the murder and the investigation, and they were a segue into me and in the trial. It's just you can't do it justice. I mean, I'm glad Courtney's story got told. I'm glad that the world knows David Anthony Burns is our killer, and then we got it correct on Real Life Real Crime using the lifers. I hate it that it wasn't a series or something, where they could tell everything. But there's so much more to this story than what was told on Dateline. But ultimately, what was told on Dateline is the base, her life and family, who they were absolutely great people. And then the murder. The initial investigation, Cedric Green, I'm gonna tell you right now, he's a lying piece of shit. And I'll say it, and I'll say it to his face, and I've said it to his face, and I say it on the podcast. And him to get on there and act like he did all this stuff when we know, in fact, that from Detective Rabelais in Texas, shout out to him, he did a great job.
Yeah, he did.
He says on the podcast, Cedric Green straight up hindered me from the get-go, wouldn't produce witnesses and everything else. I even had to go to the chief of police and meet with him and say, hey, I don't know how you work a murder here, but that's not how we work murders, right? Yeah. And Cedric was in the room, and the chief chewed out Cedric and all that, and he ends up getting demoted and what have you. But, the focus being on Lace, and I see all the comments on Dateline and all that, and people hammering on Lace. Let me tell you something, people. Lace, everybody was a suspect except for me when I started this case. Right. And certainly Lace was a suspect for me when I developed David Anthony Burns. But I polygraphed her, okay? And they tell you in the TV show she ripped off the stuff, and then she went back in the next day and passed it, right? Well, she ripped off the stuff because they had her in there for 9 hours, wouldn't let her have her medication. You're telling her you murdered your sister, digging in her ass, and then they want to take a polygraph, and she's started to take it, and then she was, did you murder Courtney? And then she got pissed, and she's like, screw this. So they wouldn't even give her a cup of water, right?
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
She walked out, but her Uncle Greg, who was a U.S. Marshal, now retired, told her, said, look, go back in, take the damn thing. If you can pass it, go back in and take it. So she went back in the next morning and passed it. And so they threw a lot of shade, if you will, on Lace, but you go listen to the podcast and you'll hear exactly how it played out. And it's very important. Actually, Lace was very important in the conviction of David Anthony Burns. And no, she didn't know anything about it ahead of time.
Glad you shed a little light on that. And look, there were a lot of comments from people, I guess, all over the country that watched it that were saying, well, she failed the polygraph the first time. She never failed a polygraph. She never took the first one. She ripped all the stuff off the second they got to the questions that would be offensive to anybody, especially if they didn't do it. And
after 9 hours of sweating you and beating you, browbeating you and everything else, technically, I wouldn't run that. I wouldn't run that polygraph that day. Let her come back the next day. You don't hammer somebody for 9 hours and then put them on the box and expect them to not have a negative reaction, even though you have to have at least 2 charts on the Louisiana law to score probably the standard is 3. But by law, you have to have at least 2. They never got through 1. So they can't say it was inconclusive or she failed or anything else. She just got pissed and left.
Yeah, yeah. And it was really neat in the episode to put a face to a name on some of the characters. You brought up Detective Rabelais.
Yeah. Great
he seemed like a cool dude.
Great guy. Over 30-something years in law enforcement. And they did mention this. You know what they didn't mention? They didn't mention in detail that Courtney was nude from basically she had a bra on, but she was posed. Down, but she was posed, legs in the air, spread, and it's hard to hear, but her vagina faced towards the road, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't put that on there. So y'all, you get what you get on TV. I mean, but that's a fact of the case. And that comes out in the trial. And they have expert testimony about why she was left like that and all this stuff. And none of that's included. You know, and it's, I don't know, man, it's TV.
Now, the detective that worked the case that you turned the evidence over to,
Tanner Dryden.
Yeah, Detective Dryden. So
shout out to him. Let me tell you something. When I turned it over to them, I was still in contact with Tanner. He's no longer with APD, so I can say this: when they interviewed Suspect 1, David Anthony Burns, and Suspect 2, Seamus Setliff, I was in contact with him, and up until the point where he's like, I got to take it to the DA. And I was afraid because of Rapides Parish that they were going to tank it. And I told him, you don't need to take it to the DA. You've got probable cause, make the arrest, and they're going to flip, right?
Yeah.
But he did it. And that's when I came out with the episode and where I named suspect 1, suspect 2, because I thought they were going to tank it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so Tanner and I quit talking. He had the red ass at me because everything I've released on that episode, there's no way I could know it unless I was still in contact with them, which I technically I guess I wasn't supposed to be. Yeah. But shout out to him for, first of all, stepping up and having the balls to take the case because he's going against Cedric Green and everybody else. Cedric Green got on the stand at trial and said, I still don't know who did it. I'm like, motherfucker, it's your police department. And he's still trying to throw shade, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? Cedric Green, 12 people who heard all the facts in the case. And I wish the episode would have just focused on the trial.
Yeah.
So you could hear all these different witnesses and everything else. They never even mentioned about the eyewitnesses that David Anthony Burns told face to face, hey, I did this. And he even showed how he smothered her and stuff. So it's just so much more to it. I think Dateline, thanks for them for telling the story. I guess they have to err on the side of caution, but the real truth is a matter of public record. And I've podcasted about it.
Yeah.
And I hate it for the family. Just because it's so much emotion involved with them. And, I talked to Stephanie that day before it aired, and I talked to Miss Anna Labor, the grandmother, and everything. And, certainly they're happy that Courtney's story got told. But they've lived it like I worked it and know the case, and they know all the facts, and they know that Dateline didn't scratch the surface of what the real truth is. It just doesn't, to me, in my mind, I guess that's why I'm not in TV, right? That they didn't hit the important parts about all the eyewitnesses and not the guy with the license plate. I'm talking about who David Anthony Burns said, I killed her.
Yeah, and so they, with those time constraints, obviously they can only put so much on there, but in a story like this with so many moving pieces, that's the advantage to being able to go back and listen. So for you folks out there that are new to the podcast, and there's a lot of them,
right?
Go back and listen to that whole series, and you're going to hear, trust me, 20 hours of stuff that they didn't cover in the actual Dateline episode. So if that interested you.
It's spread out, y'all, through the years. When I worked the case in 2019, there's, I don't know, 8 or 9 episodes, something like that. And then, like I said, the court updates because all the preliminary motions and the motions suppressed and et cetera, et cetera. But the real meat, besides how lifers helped me solve the case and turn it back over to law enforcement so they could do what they could do, had to do because I was no longer a cop. But then how it got stalled by the DA's office to Hugh Holland came in, and that's a shout out to him.
Yeah, another person who was on that show.
And he is, I'm going to tell you something, shit happens to me, I want Hugh Holland prosecuting my case. Best I ever saw, and I've seen a lot. Sorry, y'all. Just listen to it. It's so much. I'll be very surprised if someone doesn't want to do a series on it television wise when they know all the facts.
And there's
because so much more interesting than what they put on Dateline.
Yeah, there's a ton of them, and so I know all of y'all enjoy watching it. Of course, us as myself, Mike. Cindy, which incidentally, they have an app. Real Life Real Crime has an app which has all 25 episodes in a playlist.
Right.
So when you go into the app, make sure you download it. It's available on the App Store, Google Play.
You're part of Real Life Real Crime.
Yes, yes.
And it's Real Life Real Crime community app. So go to the App Store, search Real Life Real Crime, but it's called Real Life Real Crime community app.
There you go.
Download it for free.
Yeah, and they've got a playlist in there. You can man talk about Netflix and binge. You can real life, real crime,
and people are doing it right now. I'm getting messages. Since it aired Friday night, I bet you I've had no less than 30 different families reach out to me about solving their loved ones' cold cases. But I was getting like maybe one a day anyway. And now it's blowing up. And I told them, and if you have a cold case, y'all, your family member, whatever, email me whatever pertinent information you have to woody@realliferealcrime.com. I promise you I'll read the case. I can't promise you I'm going to work it, but I promise you I'll read it. Okay.
There you go. So make sure you do that. And I wasn't sure when me and Woody sat down today if I was going to have to nickname him Hollywood Overton, but he loves audio.
yeah, I do. And the people don't know this, Jim, you know this, but I've turned down 9 different television shows over the years. They call them shopping agreements. These companies want in, they want to shoot film of you and shop you to Netflix and Hulu and whatever, Discovery ID for your own show and all that. And I turned it down because I went out on one, and I'm not going to even say the name of it because I went out on it and I did it. I am listed as a investigative producer, and it was for Discovery ID. And I don't tell anybody about it because I got out. I just got a shitty taste in my mouth that doing that show. Yeah. And even though I wasn't on camera, I was the one asking the questions, et cetera. I didn't like the time that it takes. Like we sat in front of this guy's high school for 3 hours taking pictures, and they didn't even use any of it. And then they wanted me to embellish on the story. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. The story's good enough.
Right.
And so, but Dateline, I want to do it for Courtney's family and so Courtney can live on forever. And that was done. And if we do anything else on Courtney Coco, and I can't promise you that we will, it would be just me talking to the family like you're talking to me now, and to wrap it all up.
There you go. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Those that watched it, if you hadn't had a chance, check it out on Peacock. And on Wednesday, podcast version will be coming at you. Right. So if you're not a TV person, no worries.
Right. And if you want to skip past the first part of the story and just see me.
There you go. Yeah, go to the 1 hour, 15 minute point somewhere around there.
That's what y'all, watch the whole thing. It's important. And hey, we got justice for Courtney, and that's what matters, her story.
Absolutely. So.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin-baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/reallife. That's GOBBLE.com/real-life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday host and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
All right, y'all, let's get into some real life, real crime daily. And the first story I'm going to tell y'all about today is just freaking wild. There's a family that wants answer after a man was eaten alive by bed bugs in the county jail. So a family attorney in Georgia says a man died in the county jail after being eaten alive by insects and bed bugs. Have you ever had bed bugs?
No.
Listen to this. I was in Las Vegas in the hotel. I can remember it's the one where Elvis lived in.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the night, this is a nice place. In the middle of the night, I felt something bite me and in the bed. And I was like, "What the hell?" And I like pulled it off, and I didn't think anything about it. And I fell back asleep. Might have had a few beers, right? Yeah. And then I felt something bite me again, and I was like, "Fuck!" And it bit me hard. And I got up and turned on the light, and it was a goddamn bed bug.
Oh
I didn't know.
God.
I'd always heard about it. My daddy would always say, "Sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. If they do, pick a few and we'll have bed bugs too." Well, I was fucking livid. I mean, and went down and I called the manager and shit. And I'm like, "Fuck you." They would give me another room. I said, "Fuck you. I want my motherfucking money back and give me another hotel." Bed bugs are a real deal, evidently.
They are. And just one thing I have to say on that, I actually, my guy that sprays for insects, my bug guy, was telling me that anytime you stay at a hotel, he's like, "Man, make sure you put all your clothes in Ziploc bags."
Really?
Yeah. He said that a lot of people have problems with the bed bugs getting in the clothes and then them taking them back home. And
really,
once you get bed bugs, it's hard to get rid of from what he was telling me.
That's crazy. Cause I mean, I've stayed in, I used to travel the country doing defense work. And, like one year I had 160 something nights in Hilton properties, right? And I never had a bed bug, but I bet you I stayed in thousands of hotels and that's the only one. But anyway, back to the story. Y'all check this out. So this guy, LaShawn Thompson, was at the Fulton County Jail. Y'all, that's in Atlanta for 3 months before he was found dead in his jail cell. Thompson was arrested on a misdemeanor battery charge in Atlanta in June of 2022. He was taken to Fulton County Jail and placed in the psychiatric wing after they determined he had mental issues, right? Thompson's family said they got the records and that stated that detention officers and medical staff noticed his health deteriorating but did nothing to help him. They literally watched his health decline until he died, the family said. A detention officer reportedly refused to administer CPR because she freaked out when finding Thompson's body found bitten by bugs and insects.
I bet she did.
No, it's crazy. Bug infestation can lead to neurological orders, I guess disorders in humans. Various medical journals have published reports of the dangerous effects related to bed bugs. The mental effects of bed bugs infestation can lead to post PTSD, y'all.
Wow.
And the Environmental Protection Agency has stated that bed bugs can cause a variety of negative physical health, mental health, economic consequences, including skin infections, anxiety, insomnia, and systemic reactions, which is all, I guess if you get in the eat the fuck up by bed bugs, all that fits. But an officer found Thompson unresponsive in his jail cell located in the psychiatric wing of that jail. The officer reportedly said it was unknown the last time Thompson was seen alive.
That's insane.
I have to question it a little bit. I get. I don't know. I don't know how you can be eaten alive.
Well, and a lot of people have seen them pictures from the jail cell, and it looked absolutely disgusting. We're going to post that. We'll post it on the Real Life Real Crime Daily Facebook page.
I don't remember what episode it was on Real Life Real Crime when I went in that trailer on the 911 in the worst trailer park in Livingston Parish, and I was the husband and wife had been tied up. And literally, I felt stuff on my legs and stuff, and I reached down and it was bugs. And I look on the walls, and the walls looked like they were moving like roaches and shit.
Oh my god!
So I'm not trying to gross anybody out, but I guess you could. Like I told her, she said something about her husband. I said, "Bitch, your husband you need to tell your husband to buy you some Raid."
Ain't no doubt about it. The walls are moving.
But anyway,
crazy story. Crazy story.
We're gonna keep you updated on that because I'm interested in that.
And speaking of updates, we have a little update on our last episode of Real Life Real Crime Daily with our favorite actor of Dances with Wolves, and that is Smiles a Lot. His trial, of course, was to take place. Well, they have put it on hold. Now, for those of you that aren't caught up on it, Nathan Chasing Horse, who is 46, obviously played Smiles a Lot in the 1990 Dances with Wolves film, and he was charged with sexual assault of a minor, kidnapping, lewdness, and child abuse, along with allegations that he runs a cult and takes underage wives. Now, his trial was supposed to start in May, but on Wednesday, Chasing Horse's public defender asked for a hold on the proceedings after they asked the state Supreme Court to toss the indictment. Now, if the request for dismissal is denied, a new trial date will be set. So he won't get away with it. They just set a new trial. Right. But the judge did uphold the indictment last Friday, saying the prosecutors presented enough evidence for a reasonable grand juror to conclude that the sexual assaults occurred. Yeah. Now, his lawyer's arguing that two of the victims whose allegations prompted the indictment engaged in consensual sex with him, although one of the victims was 14, which was under the 16-year-old age of consent in Nevada. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what parent wants their 14-year-old having sex with some old dude?
Smiles
14 on 14, yeah. I maybe get that.
Yeah, so he's been accused of passing himself off as a medicine man to various tribes across the country to get access to vulnerable women and girls to abuse.
Yeah, he said
20 years.
He said his spirits told him their spirits, their forefather, how the fuck they call them, he's told him, have sex with me.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything else about the 5 wives. Oh, somebody, one of the lifers sent a comment last week saying, I didn't know this. They said, because I talked about the laws being different on the reservation, and she was actually, I think, an officer on one of the res. She says federal law, if a federal law is broken, federal law kicks
supersedes.
In. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
interesting.
The misdemeanor stuff, I mean, I can't imagine that raping kids and shit is a misdemeanor. So, but going across state lines and all that, and wow.
Crazy.
Chasing him. And he's even crazier for having 5 wives. So anyway, all right, y'all, check this out. Now, this one, I bet I get a little imprints is what I call them when I read cases and stuff. And that I'm telling you, this is going to be a story that we're going to be continuing on and on. Texas police address fears of a serial killer after second missing man is found dead in Austin Lake. Now, y'all, I'm going to tell you about my history with Austin. I lived there for almost 6 months when I went to polygraph school, and I went to polygraph school at Texas State Police headquarters. I lived in Austin. I went back every year for like 2 weeks to do polygraph stuff. This is like a second home for me. I love Austin. So this story is kind of crazy. So check it out. A second man's body was pulled from Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas in 2 months, fueling fears of serial killers hunting city's downtown social hub. Austin police say the recent drownings are coincidental and there's no evidence of foul play. The community speculation was discussed openly during Thursday's city council meeting. Several men have gone missing in recent years after a night out on Rainy Street, the heart of Austin's nightlife that's lined with bars, high-end hotels, and live music venues. Actually, y'all, that's, that 6th Street is the main one, but Rainy Street is right there by it. But they were later found in the lake about a mile away. Now, this is other men, not just the two they're talking about. So they're talking about over the years when these guys go missing, they're found in this lake. Okay. Yeah. They said there are too many people that have gone missing, resident Christopher Pugh said during Thursday's meeting. There are too many people that have been injured. There are too many people that can walk off, and we still have absolutely no answers as to what's happening to any of these folks. Pugh's 21-year-old son mysteriously went missing in November of 2019 after a night out on Rainy Street and was found days later with serious injuries by the lake. 2 more people have died since the last time I came down here and talked to you, and I'm going to bet we have no video camera on anything that happened with these incidents, Pugh told the city council. Other speakers, y'all, told similar stories about their family members and friends who went missing after a night out on a Rainy Street and died by drowning. Now, Jim, I always tell you there's no such thing as a coincidence in homicide cases. Like Jonathan Honey, 33, who's a Washington, D.C. man, was reported missing on March 31st, was found dead in the lake on April 1st. Jason John, 30, who was last seen on Rainy Street before going missing for 8 days before his body was pulled from the lake. And the police say all of these cases are still under investigation. Evidence is being analyzed at this time. There's no evidence in any of these cases to support allegations of foul play. And while each incident has occurred at the lake, the circumstances, exact locations, and demographics surrounding these cases vary. I'm gonna go ahead and call it right now. It's going to be a serial killer. Okay, so like when Derek Todd Lee and Sean Vincent Gillis were doing in the Baton Rouge and everything was going crazy, they didn't get the profile right, and because Todd was changing some forms of attack, and Sean Vincent Gillis was in the mix or whatever.
Yep.
You don't have this many bodies dumped in the like Sean Vincent Gillis started dumping where Derek Todd Lee was dumping in Whiskey Bay, right? And it's not. I'm not saying there's 2 serial killers, y'all, but I'm saying that just because they weren't killed the same way. Maybe the serial killer is graduating in his experience and becoming more efficient. The fact that they're all went missing from Rainy Street and are turning up in the same lake, that's not coincidence. Yeah. Okay, and I just don't believe it is. But they said one common theme of the drownings in Austin this year is the combination of alcohol and easy access to Lady Bird Lake, which has numerous access points. Many of these access points can be challenging to see at night. Well, I'm going to tell you this. We'll go out on a limb and say that some people don't want to get a room. They pick up somebody in the bar and they go to Lady Bird Lake and because it's not that far and it's secluded and they do what adults do, right? Yeah. Whether it's man on man or female on female or heterosexual, whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. That the add in intoxication and you have an absolute recipe for these murders. But I can guarantee you they're going back now and looking at them, each case individually. One person says there's something that's happened, and I think it's why it's important to add these safety measures. They're talking about add more cops, allocating funds for increasing patrols and installing security cameras, y'all. And when they do that, the serial killer is just going to move somewhere else. I think making sure that we are doing our due diligence and looking at every avenue, whether these are accidental drownings, whether it's people being drugged, whether it's something we aren't even thinking about, making sure we're doing everything we can to stop this from happening again. You can't. A serial killer is going to kill. They may change up, like Sean Vincent Gillis, they may change up their locations. You focus on that, whatever. A lot keeps an honest man honest. And yet I believe that you're going to find out, and we're going to hear that Austin has a serial killer. So, I'm not being a fearmonger. I'm just telling you what my professional opinion is.
Stay tuned for that.
Right.
We'll update you as we get updated. And
if you're in Austin on Rainy Street, watch your ass.
Yeah, don't go parking at the lake. Definitely don't do that. All right, so we had some big news come out on the weekend with El Chapo. El Chapo, and actually this is going to make hopefully some sort of dent in the major fentanyl problem.
Oh my God,
they're having.
I don't know how you curb that, man.
Yeah, it's really gotten crazy. They say over 200 Americans a day are dying from fentanyl overdoses.
And this started after I was on the street, obviously, but like I talked about in the past episode, one of our friends, Billy Amy, Baton Rouge City cop, very proactive in narcotics and everything. He was searching a car and got a little bit of white powder on it and didn't know what it was. And he OD'd, and he died. They had to take him to the hospital and resuscitate him and everything else. And they found out now all the officers are carrying Narcan, so they can hit people as soon as they realize they're overdosed to bring them back. All your first responders are carrying it and all that. It's crazy.
Absolutely. So federal officials announced a flurry of charges on Friday against 4 sons of the notorious drug lord known as El Chapo, saying the men were leading their imprisoned father's empire and responsible for moving vast quantities of fentanyl throughout the United States. In addition to the 4 sons, collectively known as Los Chapitos, federal indictments in Manhattan, Chicago, and Washington had charged more than 24 people in what they described as a fentanyl manufacturing and distribution operation run that has global proportions and being run by the Sinaloa drug cartel.
Right.
Now, El Chapo, whose real name is Joaquin Guzman, led the organization for years and, of course, was convicted in Brooklyn in 2019 and is serving a life in prison in actually the escape proof.
Right. Because I was about to say, because he's like Houdini. He escaped from everywhere else.
Yeah, and he is what they call a supermax prison, and his life sucks now and should.
But, I mean, he escaped numerous times. He was the number one most wanted criminal in the world, and they would arrest him, and they're like, he's digging tunnels and shit out, or people are digging him out. But
no doubt. Now, the defendants named in the 5 separate indictments include suppliers in China who sold the so-called chemicals used in manufacturing fentanyl, a broker based in Guatemala who bought the chemicals on behalf of the Chapitos, operators of fentanyl labs in Mexico, and a weapons supplier who provided the cartel with weapons smuggled into Mexico from the United States.
Right. That's the dope comes this way, guns go back that way.
That's right. And the charges also gave a flavor of the violence and terror that has ravaged Mexico for years and supported the Sinaloa cartel's fentanyl business.
Right.
The indictment said the assassin working for Mr. Guzman's son murdered law enforcement officials, tortured rivals with electrocution, stuffed chilies into the wombs of some of their victims, and even fed others, both dead and alive, to their pet tigers.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man.
Shit, they behead them and hang them from bridges and shit. They killing police chiefs in broad daylight.
Broad daylight.
Yeah.
Ann Milgram, who is the head of the DEA, said in a news conference that the sons had inherited their father's global drug trafficking empire and transformed it by pioneering a novel product, meaning fentanyl.
Yeah.
Lawyers for the four sons declined to comment. And the new indictments came at a moment of high tension between U.S. and American officials over the deteriorating law enforcement relationship. In particular, they blaming each other for fentanyl,
right,
and the rise of that drug. Now,
let me interject real quick.
Sure.
Y'all, so on fentanyl, the fentanyl is the way for the cartels and the drug dealers to make more money. All right. And what they do is, you don't take fentanyl by itself. All right. It's mixed in, whether it's ecstasy, cocaine, methamphetamine, pain pills, whatever. They take, say you have 2 pounds of methamphetamine. Okay. Then you can come in, because fentanyl is so highly potent and dangerous. You can take that 2 pounds and add, a quarter of a pound of fentanyl and dilute that 2 pounds into 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stupid how much it is. And if it's done where it's not an overdose level, which these assholes obviously aren't chemists, then you're getting high anyway. You're getting fucked up, so you don't even know. Yeah. But the problem is, they don't know. They're not chemists, and they can't tell it. They're cutting it with too much. That's what's causing these overdoses. So it's not just fentanyl by itself. I mean, what happens to the good old days when you want to get high and you could just buy some drugs, right?
Yeah.
And now you can't even buy drugs. You can't even go to the local strip club and buy, and not that I've ever done that, and buy drugs anymore, right? Because you're afraid it's going to be cut with fentanyl. And guess what? It is. It's law of supply and demand. They're making billions of dollars off of this one drug, which is, you can't smell it, you can't taste it. There's no way, unless you're a chemist and you have a specific test to test for it, there's no way you're ever going to know that you ingest it.
right.
You thinking you're taking your drug of choice, and it's been stepped on, is what they call it on the street. But when they cut it with fentanyl, and you better pray that you got a chemist that cut it and not El Chapo's boys.
Period. And, it's the indictments are great. And look, that's a step in the right direction, but they haven't been arrested. And the problem is now you got to catch them.
And you got to catch them, and then you got to house them, because they have so much money at their disposal. They're going to have escape plans and everything else. And the other thing is, the real problem is when I used to go to Mexico, man, back in late 80s, early 90s, and have a good time with my boys, right? Now you can't do it. They're killing everybody in the daytime. I'm talking about border towns. But that's because when the DEA targeted certain heads of these cartels and they take them out, then there's a power struggle. The other cartels come in, they want that area, and that's why all the killings and everything going back and forth. But it all is fueled by the drug trade.
Yeah.
But,
keep you updated.
I mean, go smoke some weed or something, people, and hope it's not laced with fentanyl.
Right.
So that's that.
Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through: premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com. Chapman.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's HAPPYMAMMOTH.com and use code RLRC.
Get everything for your next project today at Menards and save big money. We carry everything to help you breathe easier. Allergen air filters help prevent seasonal allergy symptoms and improve your indoor air quality by capturing microparticles while allowing maximum airflow. Save big on allergen air filters when you shop at Menards. View the weekly flyer and all of our great deals happening this week on Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
All right. Now it's time. I know we got a sound for this.
We don't yet, but we go boom, Chapman now.
Mike Agovino, but Joe Budafuco.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I think somebody sent one for that. But anyway, it's time for Kinky Crime, y'all. And you know what, Jim?
My favorite segment of the day.
Listen to this shit. A man aboard a Southwest Airlines commercial flight was caught masturbating 4 times in front of a passenger during a 3-hour journey and is now facing charges. Now, I don't know what he's doing, Jimbo, but 4 times in 3 hours, he must have been doing something special. But the criminal complaint detailed what went on during the flight, and a female eyewitness saw Antonio McGarity masturbating in her immediate view. After he fell asleep for an hour, she alerted the flight staff, who moved her to another seat and called police. The Phoenix Police Department arrested the offender at the airport as soon as the flight landed. And according to the female witness, McGarity began masturbating soon after the plane took off. To get evidence, she snapped photos of him in the act with his pants and shorts down.
Yes.
While she was doing so, McGarity apparently asked her if she minded that he was masturbating, to which the woman replied, "It really doesn't matter." I mean, what's she going to say, right? The man took this response as approval, as he later told police officers that he thought it was kind of kinky and didn't think he was doing anything wrong or making the female passenger uncomfortable by masturbating on 4 occasions. Oh, well. The other disturbing details state that the witness saw McGarity using both hands to masturbate. She also believes that
both hands?
Yes.
McGarity
takes 2 hands to handle a whopper. She also believes that he ejaculated because he licked a white substance from his fingers.
My.
Hey, guess what?
Mr. McGarity.
Yeah, he's been charged under federal law, but guess what? Southwest Airlines banned him. Can you believe that?
No, I can't believe it. I can't imagine.
Can't get on any more Southwest Airline flights because he'd be licking that white juice from his fingers.
God.
4 times? I mean, they say how old this dude was? He must have been like 18.
He had to
4
be.
times in 3 hours. And hey, mama, do you mind if I do this in front of you?
Yeah.
Dude, does that ever actually work for anybody? I mean, it must have worked for him
at one
time. I mean, he just thought she would be like, "No, I'm gonna come over there and help you." Do it 4 times in 3 hours. And today, y'all, that was your Kinky Crime segment.
Love it. What a great segment. And so, Woody,
all right,
humans are not the only ones to break the law sometimes. And we're going to give you an interesting story that came out of Alaska. And Shout out Alaska. And we're going to tell you about Barbara Nichols Day. Now, it started out like any other morning in Alaska for her.
I thought you were going to, Barbara Nichols Day was like a holiday or something. Some famous Alaskan person I know about. Barbara Nichols Day. So this is Barbara Nichols' story.
Right. Her story. Yeah. But her day, it started out like any other in Alaska, and it was a regular morning. She lets her dog outside. She never typically shuts her door, right? And she does that so he can come back in. She kind of leaves it cracked. So on this day, she does that. Her dog, Jesse, did return to the house. However, he had a friend with him, Woody.
Who's that?
It was a moose.
Was he
a 6-foot tall moose?
Oh my God! Well, I've never seen a short moose.
That's it.
It's a 6-foot moose.
That's it. So it makes its way into her living room. It walked right in, stood up, took about 2 steps, and started eating the plants.
What?
Yeah, starts eating all the plants, just helping itself.
They must have been hungry, huh?
So it must have been. So Nichols, she calls the police and she says, "Can you come help me get a moose out of my house?" So on his way out, after the police get there, they shoo him out. And on his way out, he takes a good little 2-foot bite into another plant and says, I'm bigger than y'all, and I'm gonna get something out of this.
My last bite.
That's it. So he leaves the house. Breaking and entering, he was not charged with.
That shit that happened in South Louisiana, we'd have shoot him out the door only so we could shot him in the yard.
Yeah,
cooked his ass.
That's right.
The moose was good eating, and I hope I didn't offend anybody by that. But it must have been a female moose because their fucking horns are huge.
Yeah.
Their antlers, they are unless you
How do
had
you
double
fit through
French
the door?
doors.
Yeah.
But a 6-foot tall moose.
6 foot
And
tall.
she's probably,
That'll
Barbara
freak you
Nichols is
out.
probably the only person in Alaska without a rifle.
Yeah.
Or she'd have smoked them like a pack of cools.
That's right.
That's crazy. Good one. Good one. All right, y'all. Dumb criminals segment. All right, listen to this. And I'm going to keep it brief because this woman is that stupid. And I know my wife hates that word, but an Atlanta woman accidentally shoots herself during a struggle with her brother. All right. But that's not where it gets stupid, y'all. Listen to this shit. A Georgia woman unknowingly shot herself twice during an altercation with her brother. Atlanta police say.
Do you do that?
It happened on Peachtree Street. That's popular going out in the Buckhead district, y'all. The Atlanta police said the woman's brother attempted to disarm her after she brandished a gun. During the struggle, she accidentally shot herself twice.
Wow. Oops.
The firearm discharged during the struggle resulted in the female sustaining 2 gunshot wounds. Police reported that she was alert and conscious when she was transported to the hospital, but condition is unknown, and they're investigating the incident. Now,
Shoot yourself twice.
I understand. I mean, I shooting yourself once, but shooting yourself twice, accidentally. Yeah,
Barney
pretty
Fife.
stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to charge her with or whatever. I'm sure some misdemeanor charges, but she's being charged with being the dumb criminal segment.
I love that sound.
They're funny.
All right, that was a good one. Now it is time for our next segment, and they stole what?
Say what?
They stole what?
What?
So I'm gonna tell you about a beehive heist.
Oh God,
That's right. So
honey's expensive.
honey and hives apparently. Now bees can command quite a bit of criminal attention. In January of 2017, hundreds of hives were stolen from a beekeeper just north of Sacramento, California. And that's an area, it's flush with almond trees, which need to be pollinated. And anyone with a bunch of bees can charge, top dollar for that service.
I didn't even know that.
Eventually, this case led police to suspect someone named Pavel Taranov, who was in possession of 2,500 stolen hives throughout the state that he had stole, and they were worth an estimated $875,000. Yes.
Right. And he must have had some experience with bees, or he's got to have one of those seats, huh? Suits.
2,500 hives.
But almost $1 million.
Almost $1 million
Steve.
worth.
Well,
Yeah.
Hey, where do you hide 2,500 hides?
That's the question.
I bet you he was turning around and renting them out to other people.
I'm going to tell you what, that's the question. And you never would think people would steal beehives, but you never know.
You stole what?
You never know what you're going to hear on this one. They stole what?
That's crazy. All right. Y'all, I'm going to take you to Bossier City, Louisiana. If you don't know where it's at, that's way up northwest Louisiana. And we love our people out there with, that's really country Louisiana. We'll put it like that. But 90-year-old Jacqueline Johnson was a bit put out that no one thought to give her favorite perfume, Red Door, for Christmas. So a few days after Christmas, y'all, this grandmother of 8 and grandmother great-grandmother of 13 went to Sam's Club on Airline Drive to buy it herself. After going to the perfume counter, she remembered she also needed coffee. So Johnson went to the coffee aisle across the store, but when she got there, something strange happened. There was a woman in front of her with a bag of coffee, and she started punching the bag, Johnson said. She also said the woman was making strange screaming noises. And I'm looking at her and said, something must be wrong. And I shrugged my shoulders, and I started to turn back again, and she grabbed my shoulder. She was distracting me, Johnson said. Johnson was distracted long enough that a man who was with the woman got behind her, reached into her purse, and took her wallet. Johnson didn't realize it at the time. She figured it out, though, when she went to check out and had no way to pay. She says they took her credit cards, her Social Security card, Medicare card, driver's license, but fortunately not a lot of cash. And she was hysterical. I would like the whole world to know what happened to me, John said. I lost my Social Security card. That's where I'm waiting for the axe to fall. I have not suffered at all other than mental anguish and sleepless nights. It has just affected me like nothing else. She said the experience was violating, and she regrets that she didn't have her purse zipped.
Wow.
Let me tell you that anytime my wife and I go in the store shopping, and she's very cognizant about leaving her purse like in the buggy.
Yeah.
Because it just takes a second. And if you don't believe there are people out there like these assholes, I mean, this is kudos for them for being unique, punching a bag of coffee and screaming to get her attention. But it just takes a split second. And so be aware, people, not afraid, and be aware of, especially if somebody starts punching a coffee bag.
Yeah. That's going to raise a radar.
If something ever comes up like that, you better grab a hold of your wallet and your purse and whatever. So
that's right. Y'all know that sound. That's Today in True Crime History.
Today in History.
For April 17th, in Woody in 1932, a mob of farmers in Kansas lynched a man who admitted he killed an 8-year-old girl. It's crazy to know that 1930s, they were still lynching.
I wonder if they
up to the 60s.
I wonder if he admitted after they beat his ass.
Yeah. Yeah, if he killed an 18-year-old girl, I ain't feeling sorry for him.
The 8-year-old girl?
8-year-old girl. You're right, yeah. I don't feel sorry for him. Now, 1969, this one you're probably familiar with. Sirhan is found guilty of assassinating Senator Robert Kennedy.
Yeah, that's sad.
Very sad. That happened in 1969. And in 1993, 2 police officers are convicted of violating Rodney King's civil rights.
I remember that one, yeah.
In court. That happened today in 1993.
Today in True Crime.
And that's it for today.
That's it, y'all. And we love and appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all, Real Life Real Crime Daily is on the Real Life Real Crime feed. Go download the Real Life Real Crime community app. We have a whole section for Real Life Real Crime Daily now, and all the Real Life Real Crime stuff.
And Bloody Angola.
And Bloody Angola.
Yeah.
So everything's there. Go download it, and it's free, people. Our merch store is there.
Yeah.
We got forums, games, whatever. And in the news, cold cases. Oh, look, y'all, we set, and I don't have it in front of me. We set up a new hotline for Barbara Blunt, who's been missing.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring you another episode on that and some updates on that. And her murderversary, I hate that word, but her murderversary is coming up next month. So, and thank you for liking and listening, subscribing.
Yes.
Holy smokes, all you lifers, new lifers especially. I mean, today we're number 4 in the world in true crime, number 7 in the world overall.
Crazy.
And just blessed.
Yeah,
blessed
very
to be on this
blessed.
ride.
Very blessed. And until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
With Real Life Real Crime Daily. Peace.
And from Mike Agovino, Shabusiness.
Shop early, save big, all month long during Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Right now, get select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at just $59.98. Don't wait to save. Shop these deals today, in-store or online. Because Lowe's knows deals. Discount taken at time of purchase while supplies last. Selection varies by location.